Hi there. Welcome to Intuition, your success compass. It's still going to be so challenging for me to do that. I like a challenge. It makes the brain bend a little bit and asks more of our presentness. That's not a word. Is it a word? We're calling it a word. Asks me to be present. It asks me to pay attention and not just get on here and let whatever flies out of my mouth. Although between you and I and the fence post, we know that happens sometimes too. This week is the last week of the month. So even though the name of the podcast has changed, the series still goes on. And we have a couple more chapters of the book I wrote a decade ago. And I am actually enjoying visiting this because it feels like going in and talking to an old friend, but then being like, wow, old friend forgot to say that and didn't put that in there. And oh, I have so much more I could add right now. So I'm grateful because it gives a reflection point of where I was in life at the time. I don't really want to remember that part, but what I knew and how I would say it more clearly now. This week's chapter requires clarity because this is when we ask for it. Asking for anything in life can be challenging, especially if you were someone who grew up with the no word being there more often than the sure, we'll see about that. Oh, my mother used to say that all the time. Instead of saying yes or no, she would say we'll see, which let's face, mostly as a kid, if it's we'll see, it's a no. So I used to get so frustrated with her and actually got myself into a little bit of trouble. I know you find that hard to believe that I would get in trouble saying something, but it happened a lot because I asked her to just say no. Just tell me no. Don't keep saying we'll see because then I get my hopes up and then it doesn't happen. And because I'm such an optimistic person, I would get my hopes up every time thinking, well, this time will be different. This time will be different. This time will be different. I didn't ask for a lot as a kid. I was one of those really good kids, and I'm dedicated to being more clear every time I think back to the wiring that was there and that has gotten installed in my own head because I have dodged a conversation before. I have dodged a direct request instead of just simply responding. And a lot of the times, there's a connection between that type of experience of needs not being met and having a difficult time asking for anything that we want. And that's why this chapter made it in the book, because I felt at the time, and I more strongly feel now, that especially women, we have a difficult time asking for what we want. And I think that needs to stop because the more clear we are, the more we can accomplish. And I mean that by within ourselves, the more we can know about ourselves. And I just feel like it would be a hell of a lot less work if people just said what they meant what they said, and we asked for what we needed. Whether the other person could respond to it or not is tricky, but that's included in this chapter. So here we go. Ask for it. Get ready for story time. If you're listening for the first time, thank you for being here. And this is where I read a chapter from the book I wrote a decade ago, like I said, and we're just revisiting it. And then I add things in on the fly as I think of them and as I realize that I've expanded my own knowledge. So ask for it. Can you ask for anything? Go ahead. Ask for anything you can think of. The more outrageous, the better. No? Is this a challenge for you? Why is that, do you suppose? Is it old messages playing out for you? One of the things you perhaps forgot to put on the list of things to let go? I'll wait if you want to go back and do that now. When I first started working with groups of women who were looking for more in their lives, more feeling as well as more connection, and the very real more money, more opportunities, and more love, the first thing I asked them to do is figure out an amount of money I could hand them without them feeling like they had to do anything in return for me. I would then suggest that I gave them 500. And most of the group would panic that they wouldn't know how to handle the situation. We would then move it down for those it scared and up for those that were willing to empty my bank account, which at the time, 500 was a really high number. Oh, fun times. We would do this process each time we met so that they could feel where their number was. It would go up for some and down for others, depending on how they felt about themselves that day. And it continues to be a good measuring device for them to know where they line up and how they feel about themselves. Try this for yourself. If I was to hand you an amount of money or anything that had value to it, and you didn't have to do anything for it, and there was no catch to it, would you be able to accept it? It's easy to say, yeah, sure, absolutely, I'd be able to do that. But really feel it out. Allow yourself to experience receiving of something of generosity and what that feels like. Do you feel like you have to earn it? Do you feel like you have to give in kind? Do you feel like this just isn't real? Feel it out, right? And then we're going to do something that's fun. And yes, sometimes I know these experiences aren't all that fun. When I was first working out with Justin, my buddy and my trainer, and he would say, this is going to be so fun. In my head, I would say, F you nut, because I really thought he was a nut for thinking that the things were fun. Well, now I think jumping jacks are fun. So there's all about growth and fun being relative, right? So one of the requests of this chapter is learning to ask to allow things. It's about being a kid and trusting anything you can dream of can actually happen. So before I learned that we'll see was the answer they were going to use. And it's also about allowing yourself to ask. Selfish may be a word that comes to mind, and I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you very much. Did you know that selfish actually means to take care of the self? It means that somewhere along the line, it got a bad connotation and connected with thinking more of yourself than others. And that's not the case. That's self-centered. Selfish is when you consider self. And when you do that, you will have more to give and will be able to do it without a sense of resentment creeping up in you. It's absolutely that oxygen metaphor, but it's more than it's being able to feel like you're not going to be operating at a deficit if somebody asks you to do something. So I'm going to ask you to be selfish and think of just you as we go through these next few steps. And they will be fun. I promise. I would like you to imagine that you can have anything you wish. You are in a magic place of the universe with a wand, and the universe wants to grant you whatever you ask for. And not only can you have it, you can have as much as you want. There are no limits to what you can create. There is a rule, and the only rule is to have fun during this process. So if you can, suspend that thinking head for just a moment. What do you want? What do you want? Take your time and give it a lot of detail. Fill it in. Put in there how you want to feel, what the day looks like, what you'll be able to do with whatever you create, what it is experience, it's like experiencing having it. There's no limits here. Remember? The idea is to have fun. Once you know what you want, and please be kind to yourself. It could be a moment with a cup of tea. It could be a connection with someone that can help you propel your career. It could be meeting someone who gets your goofy side. And once you've done that, now ask yourself, what do you want your life to look like? Your whole life. What do you want it to look like? What does the flow of the week look like? What does the flow of the day look like? What do you want it to look like? And then move on. What do you want your relationships to look like? How do you want to interact with people? How do you want to be seen by others? How do you want to be seen by yourself? Because remember, the relationship with self is the most important one. Do you want to live somewhere different? Where? What feels right in this moment? We're not making lifelong commitments here. We're exploring. Are you doing work that fills you up as well as supports you financially? Well, if not, what do you want to do? What service do you want to bring the world? What do you want to give? Wherever your imagination goes, allow it to. Follow it. Imagination is the door to intuition. And the more your imagination gets to wander, the better your intuition, because your intuition is often showing you the expansive possibilities. And if your imagination does not engage and allow you to go there, your action head will not be able to follow through. In this wonderful place where you envision your life and you feel your life, what problems have been resolved? Are you living debt free now and honoring your money and managing it in a way that feels respectful because you feel fulfilled? What areas of concern that you had prior to this exercise have gone poof? Did it help you decide what is ready to be released so others can move in that are less toxic or not toxic at all? Hey, if we're going to create, let's go to not toxic at all. What do your surroundings look like now? How do you feel? Can you feel more of yourself? Like somehow if something has filled in, there's more of you here and grounded. Do you feel more present? When you pay attention to what you'd like to create, your subconscious mind gets on board and it wanders less. So you get to be more present. Hey, that's one of the things that Magic Mind has done for me. It's just occurring to me now. It has allowed me to be more present. There's a feeling of energetic alignment that happens when I have it. And you know how I can tell the difference? There's some days where I go about my morning and I forget to take it, and I can feel something's out of whack and then realize, oh, we forgot to do our Magic Mind today. Go take it. And then feel like within an hour or so, okay, I'm back. And while I know that it's helping my system to do it on its own, I'm so grateful for the boost that it gives me and to the scientists for figuring this out, because it is studied. It has gone through rigorous testing, and it's something that continues to grow. Their company keeps enhancing it to bring the best experience. And I feel like companies should have this and provide it for their employees, because it does increase productivity, and a productivity factor that's not based on stress or like a whip cracking kind of thing. You want to do more. You want to engage more. And I love that the matcha has less caffeine. I'm drinking less coffee now. I used to reach for one, I used to do 2 cups a day and then a decaf cup, which still has some caffeine in it. And lately, I haven't been going for that decaf cup, and I haven't been going for the second one, rather. What I've been doing is skipping to the decaf one and having that one, and I feel more aligned and better able to make decisions. So, I'm going to keep talking about this because I love it so much, and I want you to feel good on it too. So you can go to magicmind.co/intuition and get your discount there by using my code intuition. I love that they made it easy, because being present and all we have to focus on in life can be challenging enough without all of these extra difficulties. You can also click on the link in the show notes if that's easier for you. Pause this episode and spend a few moments here. Allow your whole knowing to absorb this. Allow it to really sink in. If you don't allow yourself to feel how it could be, it can be extremely overwhelming to make changes and to move through. So give yourself some time. Take a pause here. It's fine. Once you experience the feeling of desire, recollect what was going on in your body as you were dreaming. How did you feel? Were you able to let go and be playful? Or was that challenging? It may be challenging. Be kind to yourself. Listen, you didn't learn to doubt overnight. You'll learn to release this. Learning to ask for what you want can feel foreign. And when you may not have been taught to ask, or you were taught that it was selfish. It can create a feeling of looking over your shoulder to see if anybody is watching you take that second cookie from the cookie jar. I promise you, if it's an oatmeal raisin cookie, there's more than one cookie going in this mouth. But no need to look over the shoulder. Enjoy that cookie. Enjoy several cookies. Because what's true is there are cookie jars for everyone. Maybe you don't want oatmeal raisin. Maybe you're a snickerdoodle. Maybe you're a chocolate chip person. Maybe you're a straight up sugar cookie. Oh, I love a good sugar cookie. Everyone gets their own cookie jar. It's deep, bottomless, one would say, never needs filling up because it's done automatically by your desire for more cookies. So not asking is like having a never-ending cookie jar and not liking cookies. I'm presuming here you like cookies. You can have a jar of whatever you want. If you're not a cookie person, I don't like cake. So I could, if you said it was a full platter of cake, I'd be like, that's okay. I'm going to pass. So whatever you want to go in there, bottomless. Make it something that you enjoy, though. Make it something that you feel at home with. Let's not do alcohol, though, okay? Because we don't need to disassociate here. We want something that is fulfilling. So maybe down inside that never-ending jar is a walk in the woods. I'm sticking with cookies because I only eat them a couple times a year because of desire to eat more than my fair share. I will keep the cookie jar exercise for what I'm creating in life and what I'm asking for. And you may want to revisit this several times because your personal measurement of asking will change over time. It does get easier. It really does. And some of that is because when you keep addressing it, it releases that feeling of not being worthy or deserving. It just releases it. You're like, I can ask. There's no danger in asking. You can use supportive sayings. You can use affirmations. You can do whatever. Deep breathing would be wonderful. You deserve whatever you're asking for and bringing it into alignment with yourself because you came to this earth realm to experience, and you will keep asking. A soul will keep asking to learn. You will keep asking to experience. So I feel like asking for from the universe can often be an easier practice than asking for from humans. And keep asking for diverse items and experiences. Maybe you need that parking spot because you were running just a tad late this morning. It isn't meant to be materialistic. In fact, the opposite. For when you ask and find connection to self, you realize it's not about solid objects or even your bank account. It's still really nice to have those things, and you deserve that too. So absolutely have it on there. What will happen though, if you're doing this practice and you're asking, you will find that you start to grow and you ask for moments of peacefulness, or you ask for interactions with friends, or you ask for an idea to come to you for a book. Eventually, what it does is it shifts off of the materialistic. I did have a little bit of a challenge, as an aside, with the book The Secret because it seemed to be so materialistically focused. And I understand that's how you get people in, but that's not what we're here for. Those are the things that allow our lives to be even more joyful. But it's not about the thing. And if you still have a hard time asking for things or the changes in self, start practicing with receiving compliments. Receiving and saying a very kind, simple thank you. Don't follow up with you shouldn't have, or you look great too, or something where you feel like you have to match it. A simple thank you in receiving. Think of it as a gift the other person is giving you. And if you were to smush it back in their face, that would be rude. So it can help you to learn how to ask and to receive if you receive the compliment. And you will also be emitting a message out from your energy field that you're getting better at receiving things and you're getting better at asking for things. And they will start to show up more and more for you to learn how to ask for things that may be related to relationship. Asking someone to not speak to you in that way. First making a request and then make a statement and then you walk away. Okay. Maybe you ask for that additional income from your boss by showing where you've on your game and producing a service for the business. Asking of yourself and from yourself can often be the most challenging. So ask yourself, what is it that I want to learn today? What is it that I need to learn today? Um, who is it that I'd like to be today? Ask the questions, because in that you will reveal the direction that you will feel is best in alignment for your body, your mind, your soul, and the expansiveness of you. I know it's difficult if you've asked in the past and other people haven't shown up, or you've asked and it just didn't go your way. Well, I need you to tap into your own energy and find out, were you asking the wrong sources? Because sometimes you have to ask yourself, why am I going to this store that's been looted for brand new products? If I'm being shown over and over and over again that these are not the people for me and I keep going to them, what is it of me that I need to see or to shift in order to have others in my life that say, yes, of course, why wouldn't I do that? It is challenging, I get it. I still get tongue-tied sometimes in my personal relationships, asking for what is important to me. A very simple experience, okay? Mike likes to have the classical music station on. He's someone that his brain works best with noise around, and I am someone whose brain works best with no noise around. So isn't that fun, living in the same household? But this is something that for a couple years I just gritted my teeth and didn't say anything about. And then finally I had to say to him, I had to ask, because I do this work too on myself. I don't just suggest. So I asked him, is it possible that we not listen to this station on Saturdays because the opera that they play feels like someone is taking an ice pick to my inner eardrum, and it's very disruptive to my energy field. And it makes me antsy. And he looked at me, and when you're asking for that partner, when I asked for my partner, I said, I want someone who's willing to challenge me and ask questions back to me and ask me to grow. Well, boy, did I get that. And I'm so grateful. And yet at times I'm like, oh, hey, I asked for this. And he said, how long's this been bothering you? And honesty is our number one tenet. I said, since I've known you. And he said, why didn't you just ask? We can turn it off. And he just walked over and turned it off and looked at me like, that wasn't hard. I don't know what the problem is here. And I said to him, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's been my experience that I can ask and ask and ask and nothing changes. And that was the experience in my marriage. But that's not where we are today. So we laugh about it because this Saturday is just 2 days ago. I looked at him and I said, do you want the Bluetooth headphones so you can listen to this? Because I have to turn this off now. It's starting to feel like it's attacking me. And he's like, nah, turn it off. And then we ended up putting on a CD. I think it was Devo or something like that. We ended up putting a CD that we both really liked because we were just doing projects around the house. And I'm like, this is so amazing, being in the appreciation of asking. But when I tell you, like, because I knew it meant so much to him, I mean, so much I did a donation to the public radio station because I knew it meant so much to him for Christmas. But I was attaching his disappointment in me or disapproval or his saying no to the simple request. And he's going to bust my chops on that for a while. And that's fine, because that, to me, humor helps me let go of the judgment of myself. But this is an example of asking for it. It was no big deal to him, and even a little mind boggling that it would be something difficult for me to ask for. So in that, I said, you know what? I am not going to step into his energy field anymore. It is harder for those that we're close to, admittedly. but the I practice of not stepping into someone's energy field for their response. You are asking, you pop the question. It's kind of like when you're playing pickleball, you hit the ball over the net and you have to wait for it to come back. You're not going to jump it because don't you go in that kitchen. You're not allowed in the kitchen in pickleball. So digression there, but just ask and wait for it to be received. Your knees can be knocking, you can be taking deep breaths, but I promise you, you're worth it. Start with asking with yourself, then ask from those that you feel are safe, and then move on to those that you might have a more challenging time with because you want to build up your confidence first and your self-surety. Okay. Thank you for listening to this and for being a part of my world. I appreciate you and I want you to feel for you the most lined up you can possibly feel. And your soul is always going to be asking for more. It likes to experience things more, 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 more. So get good at asking, okay? And I ask you to return to the next episode, and I'll see you there. Thank you for listening to this episode of Intuition, Your Success Compass. I appreciate you being here. If you would like more information about developing your intuitive skills, removing those blocks, and creating the life that feels the most successful to you, then head on over to vickibaird.com. That's VICKIBAIRD.com, and check out the courses, the groups, and the Spaces app that will allow you to be part of our community and know about upcoming events and specials. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.